If you're casting a romantic comedy in the early 90s, which actors come to mind? John Cusack, Kevin Costner, Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise maybe? Of course not. Let's cast James Woods, who at that point in time was mostly known for grittier stuff like Videodrome and Once Upon a Time in America.
Shut the fuck up! Shut up!
Like, his acting trait is literally watch me shout for 90 minutes.
You want me to kick? Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out! Get out! Bitch! Fuck you, Ray! Fuck you! Fuck! Damn it, son of a bitch! I'll fucking kill you! I'll vaporize your ass! What are you looking at?
Hilariously, the DVD version of Straight Talk that I have lists only one other acting credit for James Woods, and it's The Hard Way. Quick tangent about The Hard Way. It's a 1991 buddy cop movie in which Michael J. Fox plays a spoiled actor who wants to research a role by shadowing a real NYPD tough guy, and things escalate in that late 1980s, early 1990s Lethal Weapon kind of way. James Woods is very James Woods in this movie.
Not if you tied my tongue to your tailpipe and drove me 80 miles an hour naked across a field of broken glass. No, no, no!
Is this about the actor?
But it's an overall fun ride. I think this is the reference point Straight Talk used because it's the closest thing they could find to a romantic comedy.
I can't believe you just kissed him. You kissed his face?
The way I feel about you, I haven't felt about a woman in a long, long time.
In James Woods' pre-Disney filmography. Before we dive into the rest of the movie, here's what does work. Dolly Parton is charming, the lead actors are the same age, shockingly, and the songs Dolly wrote and sings are catchy. And that's about it. Yeah, let's tear into it. Straight Talk is a 1992 romantic comedy starring Dolly Parton as Shirley Kenyon, a woman who decides to leave her boyfriend and move to Chicago after getting fired at her job as a dancing instructor because she won't stop talking to people. Michael Madsen plays her boyfriend, by the way, and the movie came out in the same year as Reservoir Dogs. Remember that for later, it will be important. When Shirley arrives in Chicago, she decides to make a wish on a bridge with her bag open, whole wallet hanging out. She loses some money. How did that happen? And climbs over the railing to get it back. We then get this shot of someone looking at her, and yeah, it's James Woods. His character is called Jack, but honestly, you can forget that because I also did multiple times during watching, it doesn't matter. James thinks she's trying to kill herself and rushes down to save her life. His life-saving attempt nearly kills her, and she's not happy because she also loses her $20 in the process. This is their first meet-cute, and in true romantic comedy fashion, they hate each other.
It's almost breakfast time. You should check out the restaurant. You just might find somebody not choking you can give the Heimlich maneuver to.
The movie stretches believability in a number of ways, which fine in a romantic comedy, but also, come on. We find out James Woods is a journalist and apparently a workaholic, staying at the office all night, but when his boss asks him if he's working on anything big, he isn't working on anything. All right then, this is an important setup for later, because we can't have a romantic comedy in the 90s without betrayal. Meanwhile, Shirley's at a diner having some breakfast and meets Terry Hatcher, who is a total mess because her boyfriend is an inconsiderate workaholic, and you see where this is going. But no worries, Shirley has some folksy no-nonsense advice for her.
Sometimes you gotta just get out and honk your own horn.
It turns out James Woods is the inconsiderate boyfriend, and Terry breaks up with him, which fuels the romantic comedy leads hate each other in Act 1 fire even more. This is also the James Woodsiest moment of the rest of the movie.
It's been a great thrill meeting you. I guess all I can say is I wish it were a little later in life, like on my deathbed.
Moving on, Shirley starts looking for a job, and after some fails, her heels are too loud, her nails are too long, she finds a job as a receptionist at a radio network. When she accidentally walks into the wrong room, however, she's confused for the new radio psychiatrist, Dr. Kendall, and is put on the air. We never find out what happened to the actual Dr. Kendall. I guess I'll assume she changed her mind and didn't show up for her first day of work. Shirley improvises, and while her quote-unquote boss hates it and fires her and the producers, she's called back the next day because everyone was writing letters about how much they loved her folksy charm. So the network gets her back, and her boss tells her to lie about being a doctor because she's already been on the radio as Dr. Shirley, and because the head of the network desperately wanted a PhD on the radio.
You tell no one anything about your past. Anything. I don't want you ever. Don't talk about your past. At all.
This conflict makes no sense. The head of the network heard her, finally has a hit show. It makes no sense he actually cares if she's a real doctor or not. The only reason he cared earlier is because the other networks are killing us in the ratings, and they all have doctors.
I want someone with a PhD. The other stations get them and they're killing us in the ratings.
The conflict can't just come from them being two different people falling in love. No, we need the you lied to me kind of conflict. Is there any reason for these characters to be in love or even like each other? After Shirley becomes a massive star on the radio, James happens to see her on TV, where it's also revealed she doesn't do interviews. He happens to know Shirley can't possibly be a doctor because she was just risking her life maybe a few weeks earlier for a $20 bill. His boss disagrees, but apparently journalists can do whatever they want because James pursues the story anyway. When she later appears on TV with another psychiatrist and responds to the questions in a folksy way, his boss is like, yeah, it's a story. All right. The rest of the movie is just James trying to get close to her and digging up dirt, and asking her wildly inappropriate questions to find out where she's actually from.
How'd you lose your virginity?
So he can expose her for the fraud that she is for lying about going to college. Shock.
You don't by any chance dance, do you?
He does this while pretending to date her, which is gross. The romance, if there's even any romance in the movie, is not the conflict like it would be in another romantic comedy. All of the conflict in this movie is somehow tied to work. Everything is framed in terms of Dolly's job and if she even deserves to have it. James, after supposedly falling in love with her, quits his job because he can't refuse to write the article about Dolly, and it's like so nonsensical. On what basis do you even like her? Did all the actual romance in this romantic comedy happen on screen or not? Is the romance in the room with us? I mean, does this, implied 2 seconds before the betrayal reveal sex scene, even count? And no, it's not even a sex scene. We see nothing. Thank God.
Holy moly.
You can't tell me this is a movie about a romance between James Woods and Dolly Parton. You could cut James Woods out of this movie entirely, and shockingly little would change. They never once have an actual conversation where they get to know each other. Every time he gets close to her for a kiss, I had a full body cringe and was begging for her to run away. Their romance happens over the course of 3 scenes and a few montages, which mostly focus on him trying to uncover her lie, while the song Living a Lie plays. Dolly Parton didn't want to do another musical with a co-star that can't sing after suffering through Rhinestone with Sylvester Stallone. So this movie is definitely not a musical, because say what you want about James Woods' acting, we know he can't sing from this Family Guy episode.
Or you have James Woods.
Straight Talk does have a full soundtrack written and sung by Dolly Parton, but the songs are non-diegetic, meaning they are part of the movie's soundtrack, but not a part of the story. It's not Shirley the character singing these songs, it's Dolly Parton, the real-world singer, singing them. Except they literally describe what's happening in the story from the character's point of view, which makes me think that this was originally a musical until they cast James Woods as the romantic lead. What we get instead of a musical is essentially a string of montage music videos with some scenes sprinkled in between to fill out a movie. And this is not me hating on Dolly Parton or the music, by the way. The songs, however on the nose they sometimes are the best part of the movie. Straight Talk, the song, which is basically this movie's 9 to 5, is pretty good, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense outside the context of the movie.
Give me some straight talk, and hold the sugar, please.
Light of a Clear Blue Morning is a certified banger, and I still slap it on every happy playlist I make. The main thing hurting the movie isn't Dolly Parton's music or the low-effort plot. It's James Woods. He's a weird-ass choice as a romantic lead. It's clearly very far outside his wheelhouse, but reviewing this movie again recently, I noticed that he's not even a good actor. Now, I have to qualify this statement somewhat. James Woods has a unique on-screen presence and made a career playing sleazy dudes, assholes, and fast talkers, but he's not the best actor when he's not shouting or relying on his fast-talking, sarcastic Hades charm.
James Woods has a real unique view of the character. He does that fast-talking car salesman, con artist kind of thing.
Yeah, only a few seconds, but I'm a fast talker, all right? See, I've got this major deal in the works, a real estate venture, if you will. And Herc, you seem to be constantly getting in the way of it.
This movie, unfortunately for him, has no room for his style of acting.
I'm sick of cornflakes.
Cornflakes.
It just doesn't work. This movie takes away most of the scenes where he can do what he usually does, which makes him seem unnatural for most of the movie. Take this scene where he meets Terry Hatcher's character for breakfast in the diner.
As a matter of fact, I went out.
Oh, good. Good. What do you mean out?
I went out with a friend.
Good. Good. What do you mean, friend?
Do his responses to what she's saying look natural to you? Like somebody that's actually listening to another human being and has no idea what the other person is going to say?
And what brilliant mind pointed that out?
Or does it look like he's waiting for his cue to start speaking again and respond to her? There are several points in the movie where this or something similar happens, especially in the romantic scenes. Like Dolly and James Woods have no chemistry whatsoever. The only moments where James Woods feels natural is when he's sarcastic, aka basically playing James Woods.
Well, you don't have to get sarcastic about it.
The rest of his on-screen time just feels deeply uncomfortable. James Woods may not be a bad actor, but he's also not good enough to carry a romantic comedy without relying on his usual tricks. Or, he just didn't feel like putting the effort in. Who knows? And because his part doesn't even have that big of an influence on the actual story of the movie, we can literally cut him out. The romance is rushed and mostly imaginary. The story is more about her mistaken identity and lies than anything else.
Don't talk to you about truth. Why? Because you are such an expert?
You lied to me.
You lied to the whole world.
It's not the same.
I hate to burst your bubble on this, but of course it is the same.
And 2/3 into the movie, it seems like her lie is coming out anyway, with or without James Woods' help. I mean, the song Living a Lie is literally about her having second thoughts about living a lie. If we really want to keep the romance in this movie, it needed an actual charming, maybe slightly douchey guy to play opposite Dolly. In fact, I think the movie would be 10 times better if Michael Madsen was the romantic lead and James Woods was the creepy ex-boyfriend. But Michael Madsen probably didn't have time for a bigger role in Straight Talk because he was a little busy that year recording a little movie called Reservoir Dogs. A movie that James Woods also could have had a role in. One of the roles, Quentin Tarantino never specifically said, but everyone thinks it's the Tim Roth Mr. Orange role, was actually written for James Woods, but after Tarantino sent the script to his agent and got turned down 5 times, Tarantino moved on to another actor, and James Woods got the star in Straight Talk, so I guess that's something.